same kind of distortion. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the studio with a good cup of coffee, and today we're going to listen to Benson Boone singing Adele. I got a lot of recommendations this week on this video. I haven't watched it before. This will be the very first time that I watched this, but I love this song. This is one of my favorite Adele songs, and well, I have a couple of videos on Benson Boone here already. Fantastic singer, incredible vocal skills. He's really into singing high and applying vocal distortion, and I might be a bit biased here. For those who are new here, my name is caioloesch. I'm a singer-songwriter and voice teacher. As a singer-songwriter, just a few weeks ago, I released a new song of mine. It's called The Crown My Fall. So check it out if you're curious about my own singing. And as a vocal coach, I work with contemporary singing behaviors, contemporary singing techniques. And inside that scope, inside that world, we do have what we call vocal distortions, which are those techniques with some rasp, some growl, and distorted voices in general. And I love working with vocal distortions. I love teaching vocal distortions, applying vocal distortion on my own singing, and I get really excited when we are talking about singers who apply vocal distortions as well. Here in the channel, we talk about vocal techniques through a physiological perspective. We look at how the muscles that we have inside our larynxes, they are behaving to shape the sound that we are producing as a final product, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So if you're into this kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel. We have videos like this every single week, and as I'm an artist myself, you also get some videos of me singing and applying those techniques that we talk about here. Click the bell button, that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Share this video with your friends that are into learning vocal technique or are Benson Boone fans, for them to understand more about his vocal technique. And yeah, without further ado, let's go, let's hit the play, and let's listen to this performance.
Everybody loves the things you do, from the way that you talk to the way you move. And everybody here is watching you, 'cause you feel like home. You're like a dream come true.
Okay, I'm already stopping because we have so much information in this small piece of the video. So he's singing mostly with the vocal folds in active tension. That means that we have more muscle contraction inside the vocal folds, the vocalis muscles, which are the vocal folds, or the muscle portion of the vocal folds, the vocalis. They are in active tension. They are closing by volition, we say. Hence, we have a firmer and more compressed per se sound. Not here though. When he starts. From the way that you talk, from the way that you talk. He's not singing from the way that you talk. No, we have that compression. From the way, and here we have already a kind of vocal distortion. This is a really mild distortion that we use pretty much every day while talking. We call this a creaky voice. The creaky voice is like the fry sound big brother. We have the vocal fry, and then as soon as we try to relax a bit more, and we say relax because for the vocal fry, the vocal folds are closed, and we have only the tips of the arytenoid cartilages vibrating to generate the sound. Whenever we start relaxing those muscles, we add a pitch into the equation. So the vocal folds are now vibrating to generate a pitch, and we still have the tips of the arytenoid cartilages creating that distortion. Yeah, from the way, and we have a bit of that creaky here. To the way, and we can find a pitch when we are talking about the creaky. The fry doesn't really have a pitch. And when I say a pitch, a fundamental pitch, the vocal folds are not vibrating to produce a pitch, even though when we analyze the spectrum, we will see a lot of frequencies because of the harmonics. Now the vocal folds are passive. So pay attention to that difference. That's gold. That difference between active and passive is exactly what separates different skill levels of singers. Creates a lot of sense of dynamics in your singing. So this is something that I already highly recommend that you guys start applying. And everybody here is and you. Yeah, of course we have a bit of a run there. Ooh, but we also have that you active to passive.
Is you feel like home? You're like a dream come true.
Some nasality as well sometimes. Hum, hum. He's not singing hum. No, hum. He's shaping the vowels in a way that the soft palate is lowering a little bit to allow that nasality.
But if by chance you're here alone, can I have a moment before I go? 'Cause I've been by myself all night long.
Love. When we're talking about active vocal folds, we have three possibilities of active vocal folds schemes. We say that the vocal folds are active, okay, we're talking about the behavior of the vocal folds, but depending on the behavior of the other muscles that we have inside our larynxes, we can be talking about three different main techniques: the crooner voice, the warn voice, and the clamp voice. The crooner voice is whenever we have that active vocal folds behavior in a lower part of our range, so that we have a behavior that's similar to the behavior that we have when we speak. It doesn't require so much attention with, for instance, the firmness or how much we are stretching the vocal folds. It's basically the same behavior that we use to speak. However, if you tend to speak with vocal folds passive, and that happens sometimes, then it will be a firmer speech. All right, that's the crooner voice. That's what he's using right here. Oh, oh, and this is basically the upper threshold for the crooner voice. Whenever you're singing above these D sharp, this is when we start requiring a stronger action of the CT muscles, and we change the vocal scheme to the warn voice. And of course, he will do a bunch of that later, I'm pretty sure, because of other songs that I heard from Benson Boone, because I know the song, I know that it goes higher. But right now, whenever he's going higher, he's switching to a passive vocal scheme, which is a Gregorian voice. The vocal folds are passive. We still want some volume, some projection, but the muscles are more relaxed. And that's the Gregorian voice. Now, I told you guys that we have three different active vocal schemes. The other one is the clamp voice. The clamp voice, it can happen in lower parts of your range and also high parts of your range, and it's basically really firm and tight. He's not doing a bunch of clamp. He's not applying clamp voice here, but if he does, I'll tell you guys, okay? But it requires a lot of firmness, and the sound is extremely compressed.
I'm hoping you're someone.
Warn voice. Someone, and this is a compound warn voice. He's not going for a neutral vocal tract position. Someone opening a lot of space. No, he's narrowing spaces, so he's increasing the supraglottic position, and that's the reason why we call that a compound vocal scheme. And whenever you have compound vocal schemes inside vocal anthropophysiology, which is a theoretical framework that I use in my teaching, we say that that's a warn-horn voice. And the horn comes from the principle of horn instruments in an orchestra, and it is related to the different maneuvers that we have inside our vocal tract to make the sound brighter, per se. And he's doing that with his soft palate right there. Someone, and again, active vocal folds.
I used to know.
No, this was more of a simple warn voice, less nasal, vocal tract less narrowed, and with a lot of vibrato as well.
You know, you look like a movie. You sound like a song.
So, yeah, whenever he's going to hold the note, and it could be like just saying the note flat, straight, I mean, or applying vibrato, he tends to open more space. And that's something that I do as well. Whenever I want to belt out those notes and hold them, I tend to open more space. And then if I'm just like singing those high notes a passant, then I might go for something a bit more nasal to give brightness to the sound.
My God, this reminds me.
He's starting to go or to aim towards some vocal distortion there.
The wind we love.
flat. Again, that B flat, warm horn. We still have a bit of nasality there. However, less. He's trying to open a bit more. But the base of the tongue is still a bit elevated, as if you were trying to touch the upper teeth with the base of your tongue. And the soft palate is also lowering a little bit. That creates that brightness in the sound that's so beautiful. It brings some edge to the sound as well. It's not something... I would say that if he was to sing this, like this, just opening space, lowering the tongue, lowering the larynx, raising the palate, it doesn't have that edge as the way that he's doing. Yeah, it's just like great color choices. And funny enough, I was having a conversation with another musician one of these days, and he's not a singer, he's a guitar player, a really good guitar player, and he was saying about how he doesn't like when singers shape their voices and shape the vowels in different ways, because it sounds like they are faking a different accent. The thing is, when we are singing and we are doing that with the vowels, it's not exactly an accent thing. We are going for different sound colors, or... well, basically, when we shape vowels differently when we are singing, we want basically two things. One, to make it easier. That might be the case. You might find that it's easier to sing where instead of where, and you might go for one or the other because it feels easier. Or you might go for a different vowel sound because you feel that that's the sound that you want for that part of the song. And sometimes you even do something like that, like you will modify a little bit the vowel to make a rhyme sound better. And that's totally fine. Again, when we are singing, it's not like we are strictly following the phonetics of the language. We are playing around with that. I was just listening to Iron Maiden yesterday, and there was a part that Bruce Dickinson was singing sky, but he ended up singing sky instead, because again, it was so high. He wanted a particular sound because that part of his vocal identity. So this is not something that we as singers, we need to be that concerned about. Oh my god, this is not exactly the vowel as it is pronounced when speaking, especially when you are talking about singing super high. We tend to modify a lot of the vowels, and since classical music, that's the case. In fact, in classical music, in classical singing, we tend to practice with the exercises, the vocalises, already aiming towards modifying the vowels as we go up. Okay, so this is something that we can do. Sometimes in contemporary singing, we try to stick to a particular vowel, but it's all context dependent. It's the sound that you want and how comfortable are you producing that sound.
It was just like a movie. It was just like a song. And I was so scared to face my feet.
A kick.
Is nobody told me it should be here. And so sweet, so quiet.
We have different vocal schemes when you're talking about singing with active vocal folds, and we also have different vocal schemes for when you're singing with passive vocal folds. By the way, inside my course Building Your Voice, we talk about each of these vocal schemes, both active and passive. We cover them in depth, explain the physiology behind them, and we exercise them. I have students of mine, male and female, demonstrating the exercises as well, so that you have more voice references. And besides active vocal schemes and passive vocal schemes, we cover breathing support, warm-ups. We have a complete module on vocal distortions, how to practice, learn, and apply them in a safe way for your voice. We talk about warming up your voice. We talk about vocal physiology. We have a bonus module on music theory for singers. So again, it's my complete vocal technique course. The link is down in the description. And as I was saying, we have different passive vocal schemes as well. We can have the Gregorian voice, which is, again, when we want some volume, we are projecting our voices. But then when we don't want that volume, we can make something a bit quieter. And we are singing like this. We don't have so much volume. We call this a weak voice for obvious reasons, because the adjustment itself, not only the sound, but the adjustment itself, it's quite fragile.
And that's where you moved over
that B flat again. I have a feeling that he's going for some vocal distortions right now. I haven't seen this, but I just feel like if there is a moment to do that, it would be now. But before we keep going with the song, just something that I would like to point out, the distance of the microphone. He's singing really close to the microphone, and that's a fantastic sign of vocal control. Whenever we can control the volume that we are producing here on our larynxes, instead of controlling how far away we are holding the microphone, that would be the best scenario. Because then we are not overworking, we don't have that much pressure that we're sending towards the larynx needs to resist, and then we just like control the final volume by putting the microphone away. No, we are controlling here, and we are only sending the right amount of pressure to produce a sound that we want. And the microphone is a real friend there, because the microphone can make everything louder. You just need to give to the microphone the right information, the right sound that you want, and then how loud that could be controlled by whoever is doing the sound. Okay, I feel like we had some distortion here. Okay, I think that when he sings scared, yeah, I think that we have a bit of distortion there. We were scared! We were scared! And that's a glottic distortion. It's a distortion that happens at the level of the vocal folds. That's the reason we call that glottic distortions. When we have distortions that happen above the level of the vocal folds, we call those supraglottic distortions. Like, but the one that he's doing here happens down below at the arytenoid cartilages. We have for that the arytenoid cartilages, the cartilages that hold the vocal folds, create the distortion. Just as a creaky, but we have more muscle mass mobilized inside the vocal folds, hence the sound is heavier. That would be a phaser voice, the kind of distortion. And we talk about in both the phaser voice and the creaky voice, and also the snarl voice, and other vocal distortions inside my course, Building Your Voice. Movie. And then he goes into passive. Movie. It was just like a song. When we were young. Passive to active now. We were young. We were young. And this is something that might be super hard for a lot of people, because it requires a good level of control of the muscles, especially the pharynx muscles, which are the muscles in the back of your throat, not to have cracks when you do something like that. We were young. We were young. We were young. So if you don't have those muscles working properly, you might have something like we were young, because the muscles are just letting go when you were trying to do the adjustment or trying to change to another adjustment. So here we need to hold your arytenoid cartilages tight so that we have the back portion of the vocal folds closed, and we are adjusting the level and progressively adjusting the level of muscle mass mobilized inside the vocal folds. D sharp. Exactly! Same kind of distortion. We were scared! Again, the same idea. Oh! Maybe a little bit more muscle mass, more firmness there. I'm so tired!
It was just like a movie, and it was just like a song. But here we are.
Whew. A marvelous performance by Benson Boone singing When We Were Young. I love the song, and he's such a fantastic singer that, yeah, I think the singing says it all. Alright, guys, let me know if you like this analysis and what other songs you would like me to analyze here next. If you want to develop your own voice, check out my online course, Building Your Voice. There we talk about active vocal schemes, passive vocal schemes, all of them. We talk about ornaments like runs, vibratos, and yodels. We have a complete module on vocal distortions for you to learn how to apply them and learn them and practice them in a safe way for your voice. We talk about breathing, support. We talk about warming up your voice in the proper way. We have a vocal exercise library with exercises for all of these different techniques. And we also have a lesson how to create your own vocal exercises for you to be able to deal with the individual challenges that you're facing when you're practicing your songs. So again, that's my course, Building Your Voice. It's linked down below. If you like this kind of content, I'll be really happy if you subscribe to the channel, click the like button, click the bell button. All of that helps me a lot with the algorithm so that this video can reach more people that, like you, are into this kind of content. Now, if you like Benson Boone's music, there is a chance that you will like my music as well. And this is the part of the video where I ask you to check it out. So the link for my music, my Spotify, Apple Music will also be in the description below so that you can listen to my music. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts later. Alright, that's all for today, guys. Enjoy your coffee, enjoy your day, and remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world.